Good evening, everyone. I would love to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, September 26th, calling the meeting at 6:30 p.m. or 31 now. And this is our regular meeting of our Rialto City Council. Also acting as the successor agency for the Redevelopment Agency, the Rialto Utility Authority, and the Rialto Housing Authority. And with that, I would like to ask if our Madam City Clerk would do roll call, please.
Mayor Robertson,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrie Sellers,
Present.
Councilmember Baca,
Present.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Present.
Councilmember Scott,
Present.
City Treasurer Ed Carrillo,
Present.
City Attorney Eric Bell,
Present.
Interim City Manager Henry Garcia.
Okay, thank you for that. And now I would ask that everyone would stand and join Councilmember Joe Baca as he leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then remain standing for the invocation by Pastor Victor Lopez for Calvary Chapel, Rialto.
If you could place your hand, we'll begin with I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight and we thank you, Lord, for your. We give you praise. You are a good God. And Lord, we recognize that we are so blessed. This city is magnificent and you have blessed it so much. Lord Jesus, we pray that you would be here, that you would guide the leadership, Lord, as decisions are made tonight that will impact the families. Lord, we want to be able to do what is fair and what is just before your eyes. Lord Jesus, we want to just be a blessing to the community, Lord, and to honor those families that we're honoring tonight, Lord, and to also just get through the agenda, Lord. We want to do it in a way that we would acknowledge that you are the source of wisdom. You are the source of compassion, Lord, and you can use the talents and the abilities and, Lord, all of the education here in this room, Lord, to do what is right by you and for the people. We thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you. Thank you, Pastor Lopez. Appreciate that. Now we will move, City Attorney, if you would like to report out on closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. There were two items on Council's closed session for this evening. The first was a conference with legal counsel with regard to one item of anticipated litigation. They heard a briefing from the city attorney, but there was no reportable action on that item. Item two was a meeting with their labor negotiator with regard to labor negotiations with the groups mentioned in the report. You did hear a briefing from your labor negotiator, but there was no other reportable action. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, now we're going to move into our presentations and proclamations. And I'm going to start off with, tonight we have three in memoriams that we would like to acknowledge people who have passed in this past couple of months in our community. And so I'm going to be acknowledging one for Miss Mary Marie Osborne, and also one for Mr. Richard Dick Elliott, and then also one memoriam for Mr. Benjamin Cecilia Petrez. And so I'm going to come down and make those presentations, and I'll start off with asking if the family member for Miss Mary Marie Osborne could join me at the podium. Okay. Please step forward. Okay, this is in memoriam for your grandmother, Mary Marie Osborne. It's February 18th, 1939 to June 28th, 2023. This will be number 9 in our records of Series 2023. Mary Marie Cummings was born to Eula Powell, affectionately known as Mother Powell, on Sunday, February 18th, 1939 in Nevada, Texas. Mary, who many knew as Marie, was the oldest of 2 girls. Marie grew up with her younger sister Anne and her aunt Celia. Marie professed hope to God and accepted Jesus Christ as her personal savior at an early age. Marie graduated from Dunbar High School in 1957 in Lubbock, Texas. Following high school, Marie married William E. Williams in 1958. Within this union, 3 children were born: Nina, Michael, and Helena. Through the military service of her then husband, they all traveled and resided in various Asian countries during the 60s. At the end of the union, Mary decided to pursue other career opportunities and enrolled in trade school. In completion of trade school, she was offered an administrative position at the Pentagon in the Department of Army in Arlington, Virginia. While working in the Pentagon, Marie met the love of her life, Carl Osborne. They got married on February 18, 1982. They were married for 37 years until the passing of Carl Osborne on November 6, 2019. In Marie's spare time, she enjoyed crocheting and knitting. She was known for making quilts and crochet blankets. On Wednesday, June 28, 2023, Mary Marie Osborne transitioned peacefully into glory at her home in Rialto, California. As she will be missed, Marie will be remembered for her effortless passion to give to others, speak her mind, and tell a good joke. Marie leaves to cherish her memories with her 3 children and 8 grandchildren. And this is signed by all of the members of the council, including myself, and presented to you today on September 26, 2023. And thank you. And I would like you to say a few things that we didn't cover there. And one of them was that your grandmother was at the Pentagon the day of what?
Yes, so I want to say thank you on behalf of my allowing us to be here. But my grandmother, she was there at 9/11 at the Pentagon, and it was just, I believe, a few weeks prior to they moved her office to where the plane had hit. So we were all shaken up and worried. I remember my mom calling her all day to figure out if she had made it home safely. And when she heard the noise, she grabbed her purse and went home. So, but yes, that is a story. I'm so grateful to have had her another 22 years after what could have been the day of her passing. So I thank you for this on behalf of myself and my family.
Thank you, thank you. And now I would ask if Miss Elliott, Joe, and her son could join us while we also do a in memoriam for Richard Elliott. Okay. Thank you. And January 24th, 1929 to August 8th, 2023. Joe, Richard was born in 1929 in Los Angeles, grew up in Fontana, California. He graduated from Chaffee High School in 1929. While working for R.N. Butch Walter Vending Machine Company in Rialto, he met Joanne Trapp, who later became his wife. They settled in Rialto. They had 2 sons, Bill, who's deceased, and Phil, who's here, and 3 grandchildren, David, Matthew, and Chelsea. Richard and Joe celebrated their 72nd wedding anniversary this year. He was inducted into the Army in 1950 and was stationed at Fort Ord and in Okinawa during the Korean War. After his tour was completed, he went to Valley College. After he graduated, he joined the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, where he provided logistics support to those in the field, reporting directly to the sheriff. Richard retired as a lieutenant after 25 years of service. Richard was a member of the Rialto Lions Breakfast Club for 54 years, serving as president of the Rialto chapter for 2 terms. He was also involved in the Rialto Historical Society, Rialto Little League, the Episcopal Church, and recently a member of the Rialto Calvary Chapel. He enjoyed camping, fishing, golfing, and traveling. He was a devoted husband, father, and a servant of his community and church. And this was presented to you on this day, September 26th. It will be listed in our records as number 8 on Series 2023, and it will be part of our records for here on out. So, thank you. Would you like to say anything? Joe, what about you? Come on. Anyway, thank you.
Hi, Andy, how are you? Thank you for this. We really do appreciate that from the family. You were at the memorial, so you were probably smart to let her speak first, because apparently I step on everybody's toes when telling stories at a time. But anyway, we thank you very much. My father was a big servant here in the community and to his family and faith, and this is much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank
God
you,
bless.
Joe. And now, if I could ask the family of Benjamin, you guys would come forward. Thank you for coming. Okay, and this one is in memoriam for Benjamin Cecilia?
Yes.
Cecilia Patrice, April 6, 1928, September 11th, 2023. This will be number 10 in a series of 2023. In memory of a man whose special moments and memories will last a lifetime for all family and friends, Benjamin was known for his two favorite things, dancing and singing, and was a great storyteller. He will always be remembered as a strong man who made it through life working hard and providing loving support to his wife and children always. He passed on his incredible work ethics to his children, who have passed it down to their children and to all future generations. Benjamin was 95 years young, and his favorite things to say was, "Not too bad for an old man." He was always full of laughter, joy, and had a huge giving spirit. Benjamin will be missed by all of his family and friends, especially by his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-granddaughter. His spirit will live on in the many lives that he has touched. Again, presented to you and your family today, September 26, 2023.
Thank you very much.
And would you like to
On behalf of my entire family, I would like to thank the city of Rialto for this gesture. My father was a proud American. Uh,
95 great years.
Yes,
Great
thank you.
years. Thank you.
That's my baby.
Memories. All right. All right. Always great to recognize those who have given and who've been here in our community and amongst us. Our next presentation will be a person who I think I've watched grow from toddler, it seems like. Stomach. Phew. To now, she is the president of the Carter High School senior class. I would love to call Miss Elise Carazelis up to the podium for her presentation. And I believe I heard she brought her crew. Is that it? Her cabinet. So come on up, cabinet. All right, look at there. Carter High. Carter's in the house.
All right. Hello, good evening, Madam Mayor Deborah Robertson, Mayor Pro Tem Andy Carrizales, Council Members Ed Scott, Rafael Trujillo, and Joe Baca. My name is Elise Carrizales. I'm Senior Class President at Carter High School. As President, I want to ensure that our final year at Carter is memorable, and one of my responsibilities is to help organize all senior events. As President, For example, our senior sunrise just passed last month. It was a successful event. We had over 400 seniors attend. It was a great way to welcome our seniors into their final year and to give them a taste of what they can expect in regards to senior festivities. We had stations where seniors could write letters to their future selves, paint on clothing, and a lot of cool fun stuffs. We got amazing feedback from the students saying they would like more events for the seniors. But with ASB consisting of all grade levels, it's often hard to find funding to hold many events specifically for our seniors. My goal as senior class president is to hold more events for our seniors, such as field day, senior picnic, senior sunrise, and even a senior pumpkin patch. We hope to find enough funding to make these events memorable in regards to catering and activities. So we hope to count on your support towards the senior class of 2024 at Carter High School. Any donations would be greatly appreciated by the students at Carter. We look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, thank you. Don't go away, don't go away. It's not gonna be that easy.
Okay. Okay.
First off, I just want to congratulate all of you for coming up. I believe this is the first time that we've actually had the cabinet of one of the senior classes for the 3 high schools. So I can say officially, I believe you're the first, at least from the time that I've been sitting here. And before you walk away, I just want you to know that we received a letter encouraging us to look for seniors, along with all that you're doing, to really think about going into using some of the fellow programs that will be available with your assembly members, your senators, and the congressional members. So that just came out, and I think the time for submitting your application, which would be either during school or in summer, is by the end of December 5th. So I wanted to say that. And then I think I will personally say I will look forward to supporting your efforts and endeavors as best we can. Send us requests, and we will certainly be there. I know that you guys said you want to do some things, and so I'm hoping that you'll participate with the Climate Action Summit and also with the Earth to Table, as well as the Run Around the Rocks. So there's a lot of opportunities, and they're fun things to do. So with that, I would let Councilmember Scott, who...
Hi, Elise. Elise is my favorite Carousales. Are you coming to the Mad Walk on October the 7th?
Duh, I always go.
Okay. Are you bringing the cabinet?
Huh?
Are you
You
going to
bring in the cabinet?
Yeah, I already talked to them
Okay,
about the other event too.
At the walk on the 7th, I will have a check for your student group
Right.
for $500.
All right.
And
All right.
I challenge my fellow council members to match it,
Okay.
including your dad, by the way.
Thank you.
I'll take that challenge.
Okay.
But I just want to
Thank you.
congratulate all of you for taking that, for being a leader in our community. We're always looking at our youth. About a quarter of our city is in public schools, so you do represent a large part of our community. So thank you so much for your leadership and for coming out to our events too. Thank you.
No problem.
I'll also take that challenge and donate the $500, but I also want to commend you for coming here too as well and informing us of some of the activities that you're going to be having. Hopefully you can continue to let us know many other activities that are going on, but I also know that you guys got an excellent athletic program too as well as football, basketball, and both baseball and girls softball. But thank you very much for being here.
No problem. Thank you.
And Mayor Pro Tem Carousales?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am very proud of you coming out here, and I guess I'll have to match the money that was thrown out here at your group. But I really want to thank every single one of you for coming, because I know that you guys have homework, you guys have a lot of things to do, but it really shows the leadership that you have, and then just the motivation that you guys show at school, and all your goals and objectives coming from the entire group is really commendable, because I see how a united group of people can really accomplish so much more. So thank you guys for coming. And Elise, that was a really great speech. That was better than me the first time. It's probably better than me still now. So congratulations for coming up here. And for all of you guys, did anybody else want to say a few words? I know that you guys are all very...
Well, who's the vice president? Who's vice chair?
He's not. He couldn't make it today. But we have our ASB president right here, Juan
okay, so
Loza. I don't know if you want to say anything. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, City Council. Well, Elise pretty much summed up the purpose of our visit here, but genuinely, I want to give so much thanks to the support that you guys are willing to offer to help with our school events, because seriously, it's been difficult to create ASB events, most especially senior events, but with my senior class, we've done a really good job, and I'm really proud of them, and most especially Elise for coming up with this idea, and it's hitting right here. Thank you so much for your guys' assistance, and I could not phrase it. I could not come up with more words except thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I too will say that I will take up that challenge. And so only one thing though, I heard that little Andrew Carrizales, better known as Princess Drew, a couple of weeks ago, he couldn't come because he's on student council. So I don't want to see the elementary class that he leads in here and trying to get $500. You'll start it, and you'll be the only one out there with that going on. Anyway, thank you guys for coming and taking the time. And I can say, you're following in the footsteps. We know who the senior, well, no, he was 2 years ago, the senior class president. Everyone knows Owen, and Owen is doing well. Looking forward to seeing him in a week. He'll be down in Indian Wells at the Governor's Economic Summit. So I don't know if any of you are planning on going, but there's a pathway there as well. So
I think a lot of their tips were from Owen, and
From Owen,
they're
yeah.
still connected with Owen, and he's still helping
yes,
them out.
he
Yeah.
texted me and said, "Are you coming?" I go, "Yes, I'm coming." You go, "It's your first time," and then you're going to ask if I'm coming. Sure, I'll be there for Governor's Economic Summit. So thank you guys.
Good job, guys. Thank you guys for coming.
All right, I wanted to just say thank you real quick because I don't think I said it, but thank you so much, and all the students at Carter will greatly appreciate this. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Great. And now we have one more presentation. It's going to be presented by Councilmember Trujillo.
Good evening, Mayor, colleagues, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Tonight I have a special treat for you. It's a very colorful presentation. But before I begin, I want to invite our city clerk, Barbara McGee, to come up and join me up here. I want to thank her. She did a marvelous job putting together our Petapalooza. It's the talk of the region. People are still talking about all the activities that we do, and they're trying to replicate all the hard work that she's been doing for our city on this project. But, we had a number of different events, and maybe you can want to talk a little bit about what you did this past, or what the event constituted.
Well, the Pet Palooza is to educate the citizens of Rialto on how to have a safe pet, clean pet, and educates by picking up after yourself, feeding your dog well, getting your dog licensed, getting your dog groomed. It's just an education component, because now that we know pets are part of everybody's family. We have them as service dogs, motional dogs, just loving pets. And so we're just trying to make sure that Rialto is educating themselves about their pets. So at the event, we had several events. We had a brunch that we host, which was hosted by Ollie Brunch, which is my dog. So we host the brunch, and we had we teamed up with Rialto PD to do low-cost vaccinations with Riverside Animal Hospital. We also had Rialto Animal Hospital out there, Valley Hospital out there. We had just a lot of activities that was dedicated to the pets. And so if you needed anything to comfort or to serve your pet, it was at Pet Palooza. So we're looking forward for next year to make sure that the entire community come out and bring the pet. And we did it was a parade. And so Councilmember Trujillo was the judge of the parade, and oh my God, he was terrible because he would not choose a winner. And he narrated, it took him, 15 minutes to get a winner.
Here's a tip, like, for you to get on stage, you have to find something really creative for your costume. And then once you get on stage, you have to make sure you have a crowd that you brought with you to cheer you on into the finish line. And so those are the two kind of elements of success for the costume contest. But today I wanted to introduce you. We haven't had a pet in a while in our council chambers. So I wanted to bring up Ceci Barales and her pug named Bubba, who won the 2023 costume contest. So I just wanted her to present her pet.
Well, actually, she has won 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. Would you like to say a few words about your pet and how much you love your pet and the work you do?
Well, it wouldn't be possible without Bubba. He just lets me put clothes on him. And it worked out. We already have an idea for next year, so hopefully it's going to get bigger and better. But thank you for giving this opportunity to show off my best friend, and I love him very much. So I hope you guys all enjoy his silly costume.
Thank you so much.
That's fantastic. I would like to also say that having the opportunity to be there and witness the musical hoops, better known as musical chairs with dogs, it was an interesting thing, but wonderful event, you guys, and thank you to everybody who participated. I saw one of my kindred spirits was there with our fire chief, and poor Bailey, crowds make her extremely nervous. You're gonna have to work on that, but it was a wonderful event, really was. So, good. Well, with that, we'll now move to oral. Oh, did you? I'm sorry.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
if I can, I'd like to recognize an individual who passed away today. He's an outstanding Hall of Fame athlete. Brooks Robinson with the Baltimore Orioles passed away. For those of you that watched him, he played third base for many years, got nominated to the Hall of Fame. I know that I admired him when I was playing ball, looked up to him and his ability to play as an athlete during that time. He was 86 years of age, so he passed away today. Just wanted to mention that. Thank you very much,
All right,
Madam.
thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Scott.
I'd also like to ask tonight that we close in memory of LA County Sheriff's Deputy Ryan Clinken Boomer. He was age 30, killed in an ambush while sitting in his patrol car at a red light in Palmdale on September 16th, 2023. So if we could close in his memory.
Okay. Let the records reflect that. Now we have oral communications. Madam City Clerk, any oral communications? None. Is there, now we'll move to the City Council to consider removing or continuing any items on the agenda or anything that we need to point out as being possibly conflicts.
I'd like to pull F4 for separate discussion.
F4.
Wait, excuse me. I
F4?
think I got the wrong one. Let me look one more time. Sorry, I got the wrong one. It's E1, excuse me.
E1?
It's a public hearing. I wanted to pull that one.
Okay, anything else?
Move approval of the consent items then.
All right. Anyone want to second, with the exception of E1?
The item one.
Anyone have anything else? If not, can we have a second? Not, I'll second it. So there's a reason for Any objections to passing on the consent calendar? Hearing none, that motion carries. Now, if you'd like to discuss E1.
Definitely, I wanted to bring this up. I think it's an issue that needs to be discussed. At the last council meeting, I spoke about the appeals having the fees missing like a signature, but I didn't get any. I get that the fees were eventually kind of processed, but I just didn't. Excuse me. Going back to E1, I understand that the fees were processed. I just didn't know what accommodations were provided, if any, to make that happen. So I wanted to ask staff if they had any more information on that. All I got was that it was processed. I just didn't know if there was anything that staff did or any work that was done on it. Or
Copa Cataldi, Director of Community Development. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. The appeal was filed in a timely fashion. The payment was made by the organization that did file the appeal. The bank later, after our council meeting, at the last meeting, the bank did clear the check. And so the funds did go through. And I worked with our city attorney's office to verify our procedures there. And that is really where the validation came through. Whether it was a good check or a bad check, it was really banking on, well, hinged on the bank cashing the check and making the deposit. The organization itself has often written checks that only had one signature because they have one authority in the organization to actually sign these checks, so they don't have a second signatory. So this is a practice that they've done a number of different times.
So no one's really questioned it? I mean, on the actual checks that they actually put forward, it actually says don't process unless there's two signatures on there.
Hey, council member, I can address that. I did have Robert Messinger of my office call the applicant and indicate that the check on its face required two signatures and that we weren't going to process it unless they could give assurances from the bank that it would be processed. We did obtain assurances from the applicant and the bank then did clear the check. Apparently, it's an out-of-date check form that they're using, and it does only require one signature.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. So are you going to motion to move the item E1? You pulled it.
Motion to put it back on?
Okay.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Trujillo and seconded by Councilmember Scott. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, my item passes, carries on. All right, first now we go to tab number 1, and because this is an item that I've been advised that I will recuse myself, so I will be stepping away from the dais, and I will turn that over to Mayor Pro Tem Carazellis.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council. The item before you is to open up a public hearing and solicit public comments from interested citizens in regards to the annual consolidated performance and evaluation report for CDBG fiscal year 22-23. I'm going to invite Ms. Anna from Avant-Garde to come up and do the PowerPoint presentation and take you through the information.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, city staff. My name is Anna Marie Lanou, and I will be taking us through the PowerPoint presentation. So we refer to this document as the CAPER, and as Cynthia mentioned, it is the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, which summarizes its activities and expenditures supported through the use of your Community Development Block Grant, or what we refer to as CDBG funds. These funds are issued to the city from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. It's a small small table, but I can take you through it. So this table, as it's noted in your report, it lists out the accomplishments. And we have various uses for the funds for the past fiscal year. So this is for the accomplishments and activities that occurred in fiscal year 22-23. And there's a set-aside amount that's for program administration and for fair housing. For fair housing, the goal was to assist 350 households, and they actually assisted 274. For the community facilities and infrastructure improvements, the community center building from the 2020 project list was complete, as well as the 2021 sidewalk, curb, and gutter project. The other projects, as noted, were just delayed, and they're underway. So I think they went out to bid, and so those will get caught up during this fiscal year. Item number 3 is your housing and preservation program, and those funds really have been combined. So the goal is to assist 10 households with the 2021 and the 2022 funds. And as of today, all of this, we have applications for all 10. So you'll see all of those funds being used for that. And for number 4, that's public services. Of your funds, 15% can be set aside for public services that assist low-income residents. And you can see here, National Council of Negro Women, the Bethune Center, they expected to assist 26. They were able to report 15. The Legal Aid Society of San Bernardino had a goal of 510, and they reported assisting 101. Your Easter Seals of South California, their goal was 20. They were able to assist 8. The Rialto Family Health Services had a goal of 35, and they were able to report 25. And the Rialto Senior Computer Center had a goal of 75, and they reported assisting 18. And the Rialto Teen Computer Center, that is zeroed out because they actually found different funds to utilize for the purchase of the computers. So that program is no longer going to, it basically, even though the monies were programmed for it, they used other funds, and it was easier for that. I wanted to make a note that for the goals, when we had our ad hoc meeting, we did hear from the public service providers, as well as throughout the year, that one of the biggest issues for them is to get the eligible participants to submit their information. So while these numbers show what HUD will accept as the number of people that they serve from the community, they have to demonstrate that they're income eligible, that they live here, or a certain age. And so some people just don't want to submit that information. And therefore, they had challenges in being able to report their goal numbers. But in many cases, they did assist a large number of people. They just were unable to collect that information. And so HUD does require that for every person you count, that it would be with the backup information required. And the last item is the Section 108 loan payment. That is taken care of every year. And I'm happy to report that you had 2 loans, and one of them has been paid off. So now you'll just be paying off the second loan. So for the summary of residents served, this one will show you kind of the percent based to goal. And so overall, the city was able to reach 43% of the goal performance. HUD does not, when they monitor the city, they do not mark you down or give you any findings for not meeting your goals. If anything, I think that in meeting with the subrecipients, working with them to put more achievable goals, now that they've kind of post-pandemic have seen some hesitation for some participants to submit their information. So we would look forward to seeing maybe some more closer numbers next year, or this fiscal year. So for the budget, I know it's very small. basically what this shows is for each item that's there, it'll show you that this is all from CDBG funding. It'll show the amount that was programmed for each activity, and that's under the allocation. Under program funds expended to date, these would be the funds based on reimbursements to the actual recipients or the departments for the dollars that were used. And then the last column is the funds reimbursed by HUD. So you cannot draw down and receive your reimbursement from HUD until you actually have issued the checks and made the payments to the subrecipients or to the contractors doing the work. So all of the right-hand columns will get caught up. The draws will come. We were, wrapping up the fiscal year and getting working with finance to get the final numbers. So where you might see some lower numbers in the right column, you should be receiving those draws very soon. And that would be money returning from HUD for these activities. So just to go through it, CDBG administration, $202,712. Inland Fair Housing and Mediation Board, it was $32,000. All the funds were used. And in those cases, all of those funds have been drawn. For the community center building number 300, that was an allocation of $439,275. The funds that were spent for that were $309,597.48, and all of those funds have been reimbursed to the city from HUD. Building 400 is the next project, so that no funds have been spent yet for that project. For the 2021 dollars, the 2022 dollars of the $250,448, $16,590 have been spent and reimbursed to the city. The 2021 sidewalk curb and gutter project, all of those funds have been spent and also have been reimbursed to the city at the amount of $121,435. And as I mentioned, the 2022 curb and gutter project, I believe that was rebid, and so that we should be seeing that award coming soon if it hasn't already. For the housing preservation, these are the combined 10 assistance that we'll be giving, I believe. That's correct, but I think I mentioned that earlier. And so far, $118,069 have been drawn down. And so you will see the rest of that spent and drawn this fiscal year. For the public services, the National Council of Negro Women Bethune Center, they basically used all of their money except 90 cents. So, and that's already been drawn. That must be an error of some kind with the finance, because they said it shows that they submitted $42,000, but $41,999.10 were drawn. So that has to be worked out with finance. For the Legal Aid Society of San Bernardino, $23,700 was what they were given, and $22,835.14 is what they utilized and what was reimbursed back to the city. For the Easter Seals, of their $40,000, they utilized $30,633.48, and those funds have already been drawn down. For the Senior Computer Center, of the $15,000, the entire amount was used and drawn. And as I mentioned, the Rialto Teen Computer Center was not utilized. Those funds were not utilized. So any unused funds if they're not utilized by the end of the fiscal year of this group, those will be available to be reprogrammed as part of a substantial amendment or your next annual action plan. Under the Section 108 loan, you can see that $141,536.74 was already drawn, and that is going to be for your ongoing payment that goes through. In addition to your regular CDBG, we are rounding out the end of your coronavirus funds. These were special funds that were distributed to the city. And we refer to them as CDBG CV program funds. So of those funds, the remaining active dollars, for your rental, mortgage, and utility program, the allocation was $560,000, and there are $539,979.93 were spent and reimbursed back to the city. For your small business, there's 200,000 was programmed. Of that amount, at the time of the report, 68,000 was spent. And I'd like to report that since then, at the direction of staff, we have implemented outreach program where we're going out to the businesses to talk to them. And so we already have 3 new applications in process. For the social work action group, $197,162 has been utilized, was programmed, and $114,471.89 have been expended, and those funds will be drawn soon. For workforce development, they utilize all of their funding, and you've already been reimbursed at $57,162. The next 2 programs are the PPE and hot meals for seniors and the food insecurity program. Those do not show a reimbursement or a draw yet, as those programs started at the very beginning of the fiscal year. So you'll be seeing those activities and those draws coming soon. And lastly, there is an allocation for the warming centers. This again was something that was programmed a while back, and it's 200,000, and those funds have not been used yet. So in total, out of the 1.3 million, funds expended is $779,613.82, with $665,141.93 already has been reimbursed back to the city from HUD. So now the process is to recommend to the City Council to open the public hearing and solicit comments from interested citizens on the consolidated annual performance and performance evaluation report, and then subsequent adopt the resolution approving the fiscal year 2022 through 2023 consolidated annual performance and evaluation report, known as the CAPER, authorizing the city manager to submit fiscal year 22 through 23 CAPER to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And just to let you know, this report is due to HUD at the end of the month on September 29th. So we're just getting it in on time. Any questions?
Great. This is a public hearing. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody that would like to speak on this?
I don't know if Carmen Garcia wanted to speak. She filled out an application. She said only if you needed.
Carmen?
Good evening, council members. My name is Carmen Garcia. I'm the CEO at Inland Fair Housing and Mediation Board. We provide fair housing services to residents of the city of Rialto. And I was very pleased to see that we actually came out on top. We're the top performer from the different organizations that you all choose to fund. And I appreciate that you all recognize the importance of fair housing for your residents, and I appreciate the city continues to fund services. So thank you. I was told to show up, and if council had questions, I should be here, so that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Council members, does anybody have any questions for her?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Question.
Thank you.
Question by Councilmember Baca.
Thank you. You mentioned that the deadline is the 29th, and that seems to be a very short deadline. And would you have completed step 1 and step 2 prior to that to get the input to submit your application?
So the CAPER, which is the actual draft document that you received, is ready to go. And the only thing that's required is for the council to hear comments, and then if there's any comments on the CAPER, we incorporate those comments. And then the signed resolution is what we need in order to upload into the HUD system known as
Have you
IDs.
conducted a public hearing to solicit public comments of interest from citizens yet?
That's right now. That's what's happening this evening.
Oh,
And
just
then-
us?
We
That
just
meant
closed
us.
it.
The public hearing is it's been posted, so it was published in the paper, inviting any comments. Comments could be received either online or even email, and then also at this meeting. Today closes the public hearing, the public comment period.
Have you gotten any?
No, I don't think so, right? Nothing has come in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Have we taken a vote on closing the public hearing?
Yes.
No, I got a motion by Councilmember Scott. I don't have a second to close the public hearing.
Oh, second. I thought I said.
Okay, it hasn't been closed. I got a motion by Councilmember Scott and a second by Councilmember Trujillo. And now, do we have any comments?
We need to take a vote.
Well, I have some comments.
Point of order. You need to take a vote to close the public hearing. You have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any objections to the motion?
Are there any objections? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed.
Thank you. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I saw that we paid off one of the HUD 108 loans on there. Normally when you pay off one of the loans, does the other one then also kind of take out that same amount, or is that something that's going to be decided in the future?
That's really up to the city. So the question is really, because there were 2 loans and one was paid off. So the Grace Vargas Senior Center, Section 108 loan was paid. The Bud Bender Park is still the one that's ongoing. And so the city has a choice to either make their ongoing payments, or you can make bigger payments, however you'd like to, spend that dollar that's set aside. But those funds will be available for programming or to pay down your other Section 108 loan.
So I just wanted to publicly then let our residents know that we're done paying for the Grace Vargas Senior Center with CDVG. So that's a big accomplishment. And thank you so much for that.
Yep, congratulations.
What's the
I
pleasure of the board?
have some questions.
Councilmember Scott?
Thank you. In relationship to your page that says CDBG summary of Rialto residents served, who sets the goals?
The individuals that submit their applications.
Okay,
So they set, the organizations set the goals.
Okay.
And then in some cases, if it's, for example, a program that's helping a certain census group, then those numbers are pulled from the census map.
Okay. And then, if I heard you right, you said the Rialto residents assisted numbers are actual numbers that they could verify through filling out the application and whatnot.
Through each eligible recipient needs to submit participation data. And so the various organizations, even the senior center, they will ask participants to complete these documents. And if they decline to complete them, then we can't report those numbers to HUD. We can only report what is actually collected and maintained in the files.
Okay, having said that, so am I correct in assuming, I'm gonna take legal aid, for instance, their goal was 510, they served 101, but in actuality, they served many more than 101. So why on this form for the presentation to the public? Because in this meeting, it's a public meeting, and it's important for the public to get the full, transparent truth. Why wouldn't we have a copy, another column showing the total amount of individuals they served, whether they qualified to be reported or not? In other words, legal aid may have actually served 540 people.
Sure, we can add a column for the
Well,
future.
it just seems, because if you're sitting looking at this and you do the math.
No,
a
I
lot of money-
understand.
Yeah, so.
The report is really just an overview of what's actually going to be submitted to HUD, but I understand, and we can add that column.
I get that, but this
Yeah.
is a public hearing where we need to be transparent to the community, and it's misleading.
Okay.
Because we should be showing the community that legal aid in actuality served 542 people. Only 101 of them filled out the
Correct.
document. So maybe if we could add another column onto that, I think it would give a better view, because it makes it look like a lot of people aren't doing anything when they really are.
Correct.
And it didn't reach your goals. That's what it makes
Yeah,
it look like.
exactly.
You know, when you look at the percentages that are on here.
So if we could
Yes,
do
we'll
that.
add that,
Okay,
definitely.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
Move approval.
Second.
I got a motion by Councilmember Scott, a second by Councilmember Baca. Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion carries. That brings us to tab 2. Tab 2 is a public hearing.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. I'm Paul Gonzalez, Community Development Manager. Before you tonight are proposed amendments to the outdoor storage regulations of Chapter 22 of the Rialto Municipal Code. Industrial commerce has been a prosperous use in the city for the last 20 years. Along with this use comes supporting uses, which in this case would be outdoor storage of trailers and trucks. Recognize the potential sensitive use of negative effect in the community. On January 26th of 2021, the City Council adopted ordinance number 1654 regulating the outdoor storage use of trucks and trailers and requiring a conditional development permit for this use. A conditional development permit would require approval of the Planning Commission. In recent times, code enforcement had additional cases on unpermitted outdoor storage uses. The City Council recognized this and adopted an urgency ordinance for a moratorium on December 13th of 2022 for 45 days, prohibiting the establishment and or expansion of outdoor storage uses and trailer and truck yards. On January 24th of this year, the City Council extended that moratorium for 22 months and 15 days and directed staff to take a look at the standards, make recommendations to the code changes, take it to the Economic Development Committee, and bring it back to the City Council for consideration. In April of this year, staff brought the amendments to the Economic Development Committee. The committee had concerns about safety and expansion of uses. With that, staff addressed the comments of the EDC board and scheduled a project for a Planning Commission meeting on August 30th of this year. The Planning Commission recommended 5-0 with 2 vacancies to recommend the council approve the changes to the outdoor storage uses for trucks and trailers. With that, additional criteria to protect sensitive uses and address the various issues associated with outdoor storage in general have been crafted and considered for the consideration of the City Council. The changes include additional regulation on screening of trucks, queuing of all trucks on site so they're not staging in the middle of a street, fire hydrants if required, and a 26-foot wide drive aisle along the front of the property behind the walls. No walls are currently allowed in the landscape setback, so you'll have a nice buffer there, and that will remain as well. Additionally, a line of sight would be required. The line of sight would require a developer to give us a diagram showing that all trucks would be completely screened from the street, and that's in the ordinance as well. A moratorium for the expansion of the new and outdoor storage use is currently in effect until December 2024. Language has been crafted and added to the resolution for City Council's consideration to end the moratorium with the approval of the amended standards if approved tonight. Staff recommends the City Council open the public hearing to receive public comment on Zoning Code Amendment 23-01 and adopt ordinance number 1688, amending the Rialto Municipal Code, Chapter 18.104, outdoor storage uses. Staff is available to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing, and Madam City Clerk, was there anyone who put a request in to speak?
No.
Okay, well, without seeing anyone, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Trujillo and seconded by Councilmember Scott to close the public hearing. Any objections? Hearing none. Motion carries. And now, members, is there any comments? Councilmember.
I just had a comment, Paul. Are they paying their fair share? I mean, because on here it says, I read one of your lines that says that new facilities pay their fair share needed for infrastructure's improvement, evaluation, opportunity to offset roadway maintenance costs. Are they paying their fair share?
Yes, whenever a new project comes in, Councilman, there are development impact fees that are paid. Those could be for traffic, for road improvement, circulation. So when a project does come in, those fees are applied and are paid prior to issuance of permits.
But are they paying their fair share?
They are, sir.
Okay. Councilmember Scott?
Yeah, just a comment related to that. When we talk about fair share of trucks and repairs of roads and whatnot, that includes Measure I money, which is derived from gasoline taxes. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
So that money is supposed to be used for street improvements, repaves, resurfacing, etc. Thank you.
And Councilmember Trio, you have your light on?
Yeah, so the modifications are basically to, it looks like it's, just very briefly, what are the changes happening here?
Some of the changes include requiring additional requirements for queuing. So basically, if you have, I don't know, 3 trucks coming in at once, you want to have them make sure there's enough room on site. They could all pull in. No gates are blocking it. They have to show that on the site plan now, so that you don't have.
So they're more stacking inside
That's
the
correct.
property instead of using our streets to stack.
Additional safety ones are requiring a 26-foot wide drive aisle along the frontage of behind the wall on the front of the property for fire truck access, requiring fire hydrants if required by the fire department. Some other safety ones include, making sure they post a route so that it's safest to get to the site. Try to use truck routes as much as possible, and those types of amendments.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, if there's no other questions, would entertain a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilmember Trujillo, seconded by Councilmember Baca. And is there an objection? Do we need to read?
Yes.
Okay.
Or an ordinance of the city 1688, an ordinance of the city of Rialto, the city council, no, let me start over. An ordinance of the city council of the city of Rialto, California, amending chapter 18.104 and related sections of the Rialto Municipal Code relating to outdoor storage use. Councilmember Trujillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Baca.
Aye.
Councilmember Scott.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrie Sellers.
Aye.
Mayor Robertson.
Aye. Thank you. Okay. Well, now we're on to tab number 3, and it'll be presented by Chief Parks. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. Tonight, tab 3, we bring a request for City Council to approve a purchase order for the amount of $125,000 to Life Assist for medical supplies.
Move approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay, great presentation. It's been moved by Councilmember Baca and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Carazellis. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. Tab.
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
Proud moment.
Thank you. You did well.
Thank you. Tab 4. And that's going to be presented by
Art.
Art? Is that Vincent? I always call you Vincent. Sorry. Art, good evening. Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. The item before you is requesting to award a construction contract to Gentry General Engineering in the amount of $516,215 for the construction of the Terra Vista Drive Neighborhood Safe Routes to School Project, City Project Number 200813, and to authorize the interim city manager to execute all related documents. On June 11, 2019, the City Council approved the Safe Routes to School Plan and applied for ATP SB1 funding. On December 8, 2020, the City Council approved the professional services agreement with TKE Engineering for design. On June 27, 2023, the City Council authorized the release of bids for construction. Please note that the Safe Routes to School Study and Improvement Program only includes schools within Rialto Unified School District. There are 4 schools within city limits that are not part of the Rialto Unified School District. Those schools include Baca Middle School, Ruth Grime Elementary, Maple Elementary, and Primrose Elementary. These schools are, however, included in the San Bernardino County Active Transportation Plan Regional Safe Routes to School Plan Phase 2. The Terra Vista project was selected based on the prioritization ranking on the Safe Routes to School Plan. The project consists of striping of high visibility crosswalks, upgrading curb ramps, sidewalk, curb and gutter, speed feedback signs, flashing beacons, and bike lanes near Fitzgerald Elementary School and Cusero Middle School. On August 10, 2023, the city received 5 bids with Gentry Elementary Engineering as the lowest responsive bid. The bid is within the engineer's estimate of $583,000. Staff recommends awarding a construction contract in the amount of $516,215 and authorizing the interim city manager to execute all related documents. I'm available for any questions.
All right, thank you. Questions, starting with Councilmember Scott?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, there's been motion by Councilmember Scott, seconded by Councilmember Baca, and I think Councilmember Field had a question.
Did I just hear, so the 4 schools that you mentioned are outside Rialto Unified School District. Those are under the county's active transportation safe routes to school program?
That's correct. So we have Baca Middle School, which is
Yeah.
part of Colton. We have Ruth Grime Elementary, also part of Colton. Maple Elementary and Primrose are part of Fontana. They're included in the San Bernardino County Active Transportation Plan Regional Safe Routes to School Plan Phase 2.
So they kind of address some of the safety issues for those campuses. Is that what you're saying?
They are included in their
In
plan,
their-
but they're
okay.
not included in Rialto's plan.
Okay. I just wanted just to make sure that they're somewhere
Yes.
and being addressed.
Then I have a question then. You didn't mention Myers, but Myers is in the city of San Bernardino.
So Myers might be in that city, but it might be part of Rialto Unified. I would
Oh, it
look
is,
into
yeah, okay, it is part of Rialto Uniform, sorry. I thought you were talking about those that were outside, but you're talking about they're in other school districts too. Got it, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
You're good. Okay, who's gonna be in charge of kind of oversight and quality control from our city side to the contractor?
That would be us. the
That'd be
city.
you.
The
I
city.
need a name.
Name? Like a project manager?
Yeah.
Uh,
Here's my point. So, just over the last few years, I'll drive by the site and I'll just notice that the quality's not there. When they're done, they leave trash, they leave all kinds of stuff. They're just not as careful, and there's no one there to say anything. And you got the residents that are getting their lawns stepped over, concrete's being put on top of them, and no one from the city side or no one from anywhere is kind of giving a quality control and looking at what the contractor's doing. So I understand that you're saying us, we, but I go by a lot of sites where work is being done, and it just looks like nobody is in charge and nobody cares about the quality of the projects that are being delivered to our citizens and our residents.
Okay. You mentioned over the past years. Is that in recent history as well?
Yeah. Like 2 months ago.
2 months ago? Where exactly, if you don't mind me asking? Only
We
because.
can talk about it later.
Okay.
And then lastly, I want to make sure that since these are near schools, that so a lot of times they're halfway through the project and they don't secure it, and you have kids that are coming by and are going to school the next day, and you just have a really small, the securing of the danger there is just really minimal. So I want to make sure that, because kids, when they get off, that's one of the things that they like to do. They just like to run right through everything. So I want to make sure that that's something that we're really looking at.
Point well taken. Kids will be kids, for sure.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
I think we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
There's no objection to the motion. Hearing none, the motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, tab number 5.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, community of Rialto. My name is Tom Crowley. I'm the Utilities Manager. And before you this evening are two amendments to the professional services agreement with DeBuja Wells Consulting. The first amendment that is being, first agreement that is being amended is for additional as-needed support for meeting attendance, renewal of review of reports, and engineering studies for both capital improvement projects and development projects. Also, it includes developing a water supply assessment for the Foothill Central specific plan, and finally, additional tasks required to complete the design of the Rialto Habitat Nature Center. The second amendment, the second agreement that is being amended is for the Inland Empire Utility Agency's Effluent Monetization Program. The additional services required are for coordination of preliminary design reviews and additional services required to represent the city during the final design phase. And lastly, helping to facilitate the final agreement between the city and Inland Empire Utility Agency, which is expected to be available in October for this year. The total amount for the two amendments is $974,881. That concludes my presentation. With me tonight is Stephen DeBuja from DeBuja Wells Consulting, and we are available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay.
Move approval, Madam Mayor.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Baca and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Carazales. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Trio?
I have a related question. Yeah, I get this is for the design phase of the actual lake. But my question is for like the actual community center. Is that going to be a separate discussion later on? Is that something you see kind of in the?
Well, it includes the design of the pad and a design for a modular kind of classroom. So we'll be speccing that out, but we can have further discussions on that. But it'll be a modular type of classroom, storage room, and bathroom.
And when that happens, I asked Cynthia if she could include our Rialto Teen Center to have some input on that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any objections to the motion? Hearing none, the motion carries.
Thank you. Tab 6, which is the last item, is the First Amendment to Professional Service Agreement with Ian Planners for additional CEQA services for the WIFIA application. On June 15th, 2022, the city entered into a professional services agreement with Ian Planners to develop the initial study and mitigated neg deck for
Move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Scott, seconded by Councilmember Trujillo. Any questions, comments? If none, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the reports today. And before we move into our reports, I would like to give our Community Service Director, Ms. Alvarez, opportunity to come up and let us know what's going on in Rialto.
We're a little early, but I don't know where she's at.
She may be sitting, I think she was in the other room, though. She was listening.
She was coordinating another activity.
I was coordinating a meeting.
Good evening.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. Here's what's going on in Rialto. On Saturday, October 7th at Joe Sampson, we will be having the Walk Like Mad event. Saturday, October 7th as well at Rialto City Park at noon, we will have Black on the Block Young Entrepreneurs Expo. The Rialto Community Players will start their 23-24 season starting October 7th, running through the 22nd. Our Floating Pumpkin Patch will happen on Saturday, October 21st at Tom Sawyer Pool from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We'll be hosting, the fire department will be hosting their first annual, because we're going to do it again, it's going to be a more than one-time affair, Girls Fire Camp, starting Saturday, October 1st and Sunday, October 22nd. Our senior Halloween dance will be happening Thursday, October 26th at the Grace Senior Vargas Center. Halloween hijinks will be on Tuesday, October 31st at Rialto Civic Center from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. And then the following are save the dates. Run Around the Rocks will be Sunday, November 12th. Rialto Heritage Day will be Saturday, November 18th at Civic Center. And our Rialto Holiday Festival and Parade will be Saturday, December 2nd here at the Civic Center. And our Rialto Progress Magazine for the remainder of the year just went out in the mail today, so expect it to be out.
All right, good, thank you. All righty. Any questions, comments? No? All right, with that, then let's start with reports. Start on this end, Councilmember Baca. I started there last time, and started there again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, come on.
I'd just like to report that I attended the fiesta that they held at Jerry East Park on Saturday. I want to thank the police department and the fire department for being present, and all of the sponsors that participated in that day. That was an excellent turnout by members of the community, and I want to thank the director of the Parks and Recreation, Cynthia Alvarez, for hosting it and putting it on together and getting a lot of the sponsors that participated. I got some comments because I happened to go to Norm's this morning, and they said that, you know what, because they were participating for the first time in this event, they had quite a few of the people that went in and took advantage of the coupons that were distributed at the festival that they had there on that day, and it was Hispanic Heritage Month, so thank you very much for having that. The next item I'd like to report on, I attended the Cal League's conference in Sacramento. I want to thank our Chief of Police and the rest of the staff that participated in the homeless presentation that they gave. They gave an excellent presentation and awareness as to what we're doing in the city of Rialto addressing the homelessness in the area. And I want to thank Ralph Trujillo, who happened to be the monitor for that particular event that was held there, along with many of the other festivities that were held this week. And that's what I have to report.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Scott?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple of things. I want to remind everybody, as Cynthia already did, to come to the Mad Walk on October 7th. We'll have a good time as usual. Henry, we expect to see you there. We'll supply you with a t-shirt even. I'd like to see you in a t-shirt.
Are you walking in?
Yes, sir. Always do.
Oh, he actually runs.
Oh, he runs. Oh, wow.
Always do, in memory of my son, in case you didn't know it. And a couple other things. I have some concerns about the traffic at Riverside Avenue and Valley. If you go there at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's a total nightmare. So I'm assuming, because I don't travel Cedar right now, I'm assuming that Cedar has some full construction going on the overpass. They've been kind of dragging it along for months. But I'm wondering if maybe we can check signalizations at that intersection and see if we can't speed up traffic, or if there's even a way to encourage people traveling on Valley to go all the way to Pepper, because there's not a lot of traffic there in the morning. It's a nightmare in the morning for those that you haven't been on it. I also have a concern about some of the projects in the city and what we're doing to make sure, and I'm going to specifically talk about the Century Home project at Willow and Bonneview, I believe it is, where they've got a lot of large trucks coming in and out of that construction project, and it's tearing up the street, specifically Willow. Are we capturing, or are we requiring them to make repairs when they do damage the street with construction vehicles and whatnot. And I think that's about it for tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Councilmember Trio?
Yeah, some of the events have already been mentioned, but again, I also want to thank our chief and his staff for that presentation that other members of the councils throughout our state are talking about. There's a lot of discussion that we had, and a lot was taken from it, so thank you so much for showcasing our city. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I took part in the Special Olympics of Southern California. One of the directors, Kevin Kenley from Cucamonga Valley Water District, organizes some of the local elected officials and law enforcement to do a plane pool. So this is my second year participating at the Long Beach Airport, and we were second place in terms of time. So just wanted to thank the other elected officials, law enforcement from our area that participated. It's a good cause, good charity, and I really enjoyed it. Other than that, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know a lot of the events have already been mentioned, but again, Cynthia Alvarado, great job on the Viva la Fiesta. It was really good. I love all the little kids. I mean, they're as little as like 4 years old, and they're doing all the dances. I'm glad to see that for 2 years we brought this back, or we initiated this. I call it a movement because it had never been. We had never celebrated this in our city, and I believe it's really important because of the ethnicity and the background of all the people that live here. I'm glad to see that we are keeping and showcasing our culture to all the generations to come, because I know that even just with my family, my kids, that if this wasn't, if these events weren't showcased and the cultures, then they just wouldn't know about it. So I'm glad that we are really stepping it up. Cynthia, good job on all the different activities that you had going on, and just showcasing the culture of Latin America. And lastly, I did attend the Eris Hotel, finally the ribbon cutting, along with our mayor and Councilmember Trujillo. It was a great opening. Welcome to the city, the Eris Hotel, and I know that they've been really busy already, so they're doing really well, and I look forward to actually staying there again, because it was really it's good to have something so close by. So when relatives come, you don't have to say, I got an extra room for you. There's something within 3 miles that you can be proud of and know that they are going to be staying somewhere that's nice, clean, and safe. And that's.
But they mentioned it was at 80% capacity, so you have to make your reservation.
It is. It is. It's always busy, and I would recommend you just go online. Sometimes there's better deals online, and they have reserved spots for the online reservations. But that's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
All right, okay. Well, good. I think all of us, it's been a busy 2 weeks since the last council meeting. I as well was in Sacramento attending the California Cities annual conference, and unfortunately I was not able to be at the workshop, but I heard that Chief Kling and you guys, standing room only, over 100 people, and seemed like everybody was very supportive, as opposed to the workshop I had attended the day before on concerns about homelessness, but more not so much the homelessness or the services, but the where the resources are going and the allocation and the distribution. So, good job to represent at the California League. And then I took a red-eye flight out of Sacramento so that I could be in Washington, D.C. on Friday to do a presentation on which went from guests to panelists to keynote to speak on behalf of the Rialto Habitat and the water project and things that are going on in our community. And it was done in context with speaking to energy and the relationship between energy and water. Of course, opportunity for hopefully a major development that could possibly come to our city. And then caught a early morning flight because they noticed us Friday afternoon of the tropical storm that was going to hit, and we may not get our flights. So I flew back on Saturday. So it, needless to say, it's been going. But before I left, you mentioned the Ayers Hotel. We've had a number of ribbon cuttings, and I want to say thank you to our city clerk and to her staff for trying to coordinate them. Some of them, we don't have a long lead time. I hear that we have a couple of others that are going, Ayers Hotel being one of them, but we've also had a ribbon cutting ceremony for Sprouts and a ribbon cutting ceremony for Burlington, a ribbon cutting ceremony for In-N-Out, and hold your horses. We have an upcoming one where we'll be officially opening the Rialto Village. I think it's October 13th, if I'm not mistaken. That will be the full village. So that is definitely a win for us. There's also something that I would like to talk about and bring up for tonight, and hopefully our interim city manager, along with our community development director, we can begin to move on it. I've been, and other people are constantly sharing with me their concerns about the pop-up vendors that they'll see at night and the evenings. And some of them are not in our community, some are on the borders, but people tend to think that they're part of our community. I know I've sent a number of pictures to Chief Kling, to our interim city manager during the day, pictures at night. And I spoke with Colby about it because the concern is more of, do we have something that we should be incorporating? Is there an ordinance? And I know that the state adopted something a year ago. And I found out from Colby is that we haven't really updated our codes. And so there was, if some of us all know, that there was some legislation that allowed for vendors to be on public right-of-way. The problem is no one seems to know that. And I know that the chief and them get it and they go out. But if there is, in fact, a update that we should do in our codes and a procedure and codify that, then we should do that so that our community will know that the people, if they have a process, because it's also still has to go to the public health side for the environmental health aspect if it's vending food. The concern I have is to not see on a safety side what we've seen in Los Angeles and places where you start seeing people who are fighting over space, or they feel that some area is theirs. More importantly, I'm concerned about, besides that, unfortunately, the criminal element of sometimes people just strong arming a couple of people who might be selling something in the evening. It's a message that we need to lend some clarity to. And I wanted to bring it up tonight because I don't want to be always sending pictures. If we need to update our codes and we need to put this process in place, then let's do it. So Kobe, that we will talk about it tomorrow some more. But I just wanted to do that because from another side, there's a lot of things that are going on that maybe you catch a piece of it on the news. There's such things as jugging. Jugging is a new thing where people are watching folks who go to their ATM and draw out money, and then they follow them home, and they actually accost them in their driveway. You're not aware that somebody might be watching you when you go to take an ATM draw, but it was on the news. And another one is, I don't know, it's something like slinging or whatever. I think they show people who are preying on people when they go to get their gas, or they might come up along the side and open the side door and pull their, mostly, I think, female pulling purses and things. So I want to raise the concern now before we sit and believe that it could not happen here in Rialto. And I would ask that if we get the codes out there, then we can get, because I mean, it seems to occur in the evening after code compliance is off that we see vendors pop up. Then the police have to go in and address it. And that deals with whatever kinds of other activities that are going on. So I wanted to say that it's been raised, citizens do send pictures, and I would hope we get something out that says what can occur and what can't. We already know we have the mobile food trucks that can park on the street, and we know where they are and who they are, but I don't think people know that there is something that authorizes for street vendors to now be able to use the public sidewalk. Okay?
I'd like to comment on that and just kind of add. So, how about the people that are on the sidewalks selling cell phones and stuff? Is there anything?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I would hope that
I'd like to see that
it
we
covers
address
it all.
that as well, because for me it's a safety issue because
you're blocking the sidewalk.
They're blocking the sidewalk, and then they're parked all alongside of it, and specifically over on Foothill, and right in front of the closer to the to that Wendy's over there on Foothill Boulevard, east of Cedar.
The county building?
Yes.
Social services. Yeah.
And so I see kids running around there, and then cars just parked there, and it just, a lot of activity. I don't know if they're giving away cell phones. I'm not sure what they're doing, but it seems like some kind of a cell phone deal. But they're right on the sidewalk, and they're blocking it. So for me, I'm a little concerned about the safety of
I think that's
that
why,
area.
if you'll recall, we did hire a state lobbyist who was supposed to track and inform us of the status of that law and when it passed. And it did pass. And it covers not only food, it covers apparel, it'll cover phones, it'll cover, because you're right, where they set up and how they set up, and obstructing a sidewalk that may not be 36 or 40, and we still have some. One of the pictures was where a person set up right on the corner of Sycamore and Randall, and the person took, bless their heart, took the whole corner. So nobody could go, they had to go into the street to go across the street around. So those are the things, Councilmember Baca, do you have your light on? Or?
Yes, in reference to vendors, you're correct, Madam Mayor. There are quite a few vendors. I know next to St. John's Catholic Church, every Sunday I pass by there, there's a vendor that's right there in the corner, and a lot of times there is traffic congestion in that immediate area, because people are stopping by or going right after church for that vendor. Or like last night, I attended the openings of the girls softball, and there was vendors that were there. I attended because my son, Joe Baca Jr., supervisor's daughter, played her first game last night, and that's Jolie Baca. Had her first softball game, and it was great to see her play, though, too. I wanted to mention that as well. Thank you.
Well, we're sure, I'm certain she did very well. But no, truly, I said to Kobe, it concerns me because when we have organized activities, either by the city, put on in the park, or by other community-based organizations, we charge the vendors to participate, we charge a $5 special event fee. Everybody has to pay it. But I asked him to please let us know if people are, if we have a process, they need to come in, we need to be aware of, they've covered all the appropriate things. We just need to update our codes, and it shouldn't be something that, I know there's a lot to do, but it's something we need to deal with. So our public will know and not assume that we're letting something just go awry. So with that, that's it for me. Anyone else? Treasurer? You sure? Good? Again, I'm glad to assist you. I know how you feel about these chairs. Okay. Madam City Clerk, City Manager, City Attorney. With that, I'll move for adjournment.
So, second.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Carazellis and seconded by Councilmember Trujillo. Any objections? Guess not. Here we go.
I think it's a record.